Hey everyone, it's Dave. It's been a minute since put up a painting video, so thought I'd record this random painting I decided to put together one morning. Also, first video where I decided to be brave and talk a little bit during it. It took me a couple hours to get through, so this is videos at 1400% speed, so it's pretty fast. But right here I'm just pulling from my stock library of photos that I got, trying to just get some color and composition in, mostly just for the color, but I had no idea what I was going to paint at this point. Well, I sort of did. I knew I wanted to do something fantasy related, since normally I like to paint sci-fi and cyberpunk things. So I decided to mix it up for once in a while and try something I haven't done in a while. Right here I'm just sketching the shapes that I see and kind of drawing in the things that I want to be in the painting at some point. It's really what the photos are for. You just kind of throw them together, change the blending modes, just so you kind of get shapes and help exercise that creative side of your brain. You're just trying to see something from nothing for the most part. It's actually a great design exercise to do if you have Photoshop. Just get yourself a bunch of stock photos and see what you can make out of them by just overlaying them, changing some of them to like screen, color burn, changing the opacity on all of them. Just overlap them until you get something that looks cool. Now I'm just grabbing colors from the photos and throwing in shapes for the kind of things I want to see. Nothing too detailed. It's just that phase of the painting where you're just trying to throw out your ideas and get things flowing. I see a lot of people get scared when they're trying to paint, trying to make everything look nice right off the bat, but honestly at this point you just gotta block in the shapes, block in the values, block in the things you want to be in the painting. And now I'm zooming out, way out, trying to make a thumbnail preview where it's forcing me to not even see any of the details. And now that I zoom back in, it looks real terrible, but that's on purpose. We don't want to care about the details until the very end of the painting. This whole time I'd also just been using the default paint oil on canvas brush with hard edges, default Photoshop brush. But now here I'm busting out some more special brushes, trees and more kind of flora kind of brushes that I have. I do have a lot of Photoshop brushes. I try to stick to the default brushes as much as possible in the beginning phases of paintings, because you don't need those details until you're most of the way through. So, although detailing and texturing and doing effects is my favorite part, so sometimes it's hard to even hold myself back from doing those. But here I am, just still sampling colors from within the image. I almost never picked any colors from scratch for this whole painting. I just really liked the color scheme I got from photos together. Blue and green worked out pretty good. This color here I actually got by accident. I don't even know where it came from, but kind of pink, peach, orange I got there, it's really nice. And so I saved it real quick as a swatch. I'm always constantly using the eyedrop tool while working, so any color I find that I like, I just save it real quick. Then right here I turn the whole image black and white real quick, just with a quick desaturation adjustment layer. Kept it in there just so I can keep checking in to see if my values are right. So disregard all the color and make sure the values are good for the whole painting. And I'll go in and make adjustments if I feel like something is too light or too dark, or vice versa of that. If it's not dark enough or not light enough. Gotta always keep the contrast high in your paintings. So now I'm blocking in the shapes for the castle city kind of place I'm creating back here. Just darkening them up, putting more obvious kind of light cues in there, make it look more 3D, more real. Again, zooming back out just so I can see the shapes. I'm also squinting my eyes a little bit during this process. Right here I flipped the canvas because, any painting you're working on, it should look okay both ways, so you'll actually see more errors in your painting if you flip it or change the colors around. Because you get so used to working on the same thing for hours and hours at a time that you'll just not see mistakes that you're making. So good way to do that is flip the canvas real quick, and so I kept it like this for a while and actually forgot that I had flipped the canvas originally. Got used to how this looked. But yeah, now I'm just putting in some more detailing, bit more detailing, kind of just blocking out those shapes. Throwing in some volumetric fog, trying to push back that city so it seems even further away by adding in some white, helping the perspective out a little bit. Painting in the clock here, or not a clock, but some kind of big window that I wanted on the main structure there. Now I'm throwing in a big flat old color layer, changing the layer properties on it. I believe I set that one to a screen setting. Just experimenting with stuff here, trying to change the light colors and really just make it pop more, honestly. I love doing these lighting effects. Can really make stuff kind of look completely different, but you gotta be careful. You don't want to do too much color dodge or anything crazy ridiculous like that. It can actually ruin your painting, really oversaturate certain areas and really actually just burn the image, and sometimes you can't fix it at that point, so you gotta be careful. I know a lot of people like to use color dodge and color burn, but I don't know, sometimes it can just ruin a painting, I feel like. So I'm just back here putting in more detail on the castle and city kind of area. Still messing with those colors, and finally flipped the canvas back here. Just remember that it's not how I originally had it composed, but it still looks awesome. Checking those values again once more. Now's where my true idea for the painting is kind of finally coming out. Wanted that distant off garden separated from the big city, fantasy world. Really bright river. Almost wanted to make it seem like the garden itself was magic. Trying to throw another photo of some mountains in, but one of the downfalls to painting on just one layer is you can't really add much in the way of photos and textures once you're a chunk of the way in, or it's a bit more difficult. You'll have to be careful with how you delete and overlay things. So really wanted a mountain background, but it'd be a little too much, honestly. So I just kept the clouds. Great way to make your sky look more real is throw some cloud photos in there. Not all your clouds have to be painted. I'm also trying to restore the brick texture on a little walkway here, but I thought it best if I actually just tried painting it. Could have kept the photo in, but thought, you know, looked better if I actually did this one myself. Got some practice in. We're nearing the end of the painting here, but just trying to contrast it up. Add in some bit more details, texture brushes, and drawn in guy here. Almost drew a stick salesman. Kind of wanted to avoid that for this one. Didn't want to have a stick salesman in this painting, since most fantasy concept paintings do. A little concept art trope. So instead of a guy with a walking stick or staff, I threw a guy in fishing. Decided to have one of my little characters in the scene be doing something. Maybe he's fishing for some kind of rare magic fish that only is in this river. While working on this, I thought it'd be a pretty good MMORPG setting. It was kind of the intent of the original painting, but just throwing in some human figures, because about everyone knows what the size of a person is, so it's easy to compare other things to a person size. I also added in a little particle brush here, set it up for the painting. Added in some quote-unquote cherry blossoms. Having particles float around in my painting is one of my favorite things to have. I just like particle effects a lot. I think it can kind of sell. There's maybe some wind coming through or something, and just helps it feel more full and lively, because not everything is perfectly still in real life. So having some movement in your images really helps sell it. I was struggling getting a figure in that right side of the painting, so I just got a little duo person brush. Decided to kind of cheat on that one a little bit. Thrown in some extra trees with the tree brush and blurred those people a little bit, since they didn't really have many details, so I just avoided it. But it was just me adding the final touch-ups and details and effects to it, so just sit back and enjoy the last little bit, I guess. well, here we are, end of the painting, end of the video. Had a lot of fun with this one. It took me about 3 to 4 hours. And I hope you guys like this video. I hope to do more videos like this soon, so just stay in touch with me on Instagram, Twitter. Links will be in the description for all that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.